Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Goaltending, where your why is bigger than your excuses. Today's a really exciting episode. First off, because I want to acknowledge one of my coaching clients. They just hit their goal after just a few months of working together. So proud of them. So congratulations to my coaching client, person I work with. Been awesome to see the growth in their journey, but it's their journey to share. So I'm not going to say who. That's up to them if they want to share it, but awesome. Congratulations to them. What that inspired though is what's next in the journey. You hit the goal. So what now? What's after that? So, sometimes the hardest part, it's not the journey to the goal. The hardest part is what comes after the summit, after you reach the goal, after you got to the peak. What's next? And that's where a lot of people fall off. So I'm going to go over 4 different things today related to that topic of once you hit the goal, what do you do next? And so first thing is acknowledge the win. The problem is with high performers is we're afraid to stop going. Like we just have to go for what's next and what's next and what's next. And so we reach a goal, and immediately, as soon as we hit the goal, we're moving on to the next thing. And that's, awesome, cool. But that's what leads to burnout. There's no time to acknowledge the growth. Take the time to reflect on the lessons learned. And really just appreciate and celebrate how far you have already come, right? So stop and acknowledge the win. Don't just get stuck in that high performer mind state of like, I have to move on to the next thing. But don't get stuck in celebration. If you get stuck in celebration, you become counterproductive. You start to set yourself back, right? So acknowledge it and plan for and figure out what's next. What's the next step in the journey, right? So number 2, the goal shifts, but also you have to recognize that your mindset is shifting in that process. What do I mean by that? Once you reach the goal, if you don't have good control over your mind will start to sabotage you. You reach the goal, you get excited, you celebrate, you get stuck in that celebration because your mind starts to say, we reached the goal, it's okay to relax now. And if you get stuck in that state of relaxation, you become counterproductive. You start to set yourself back. You don't continue moving forward, right? So first off, if you know and understand that, you can recognize when your mind is trying to do that. Your mind is trying to say, okay, now it's all right to be comfortable. You don't want to get stuck in a state of comfortable because that is where your growth dies. And so what is it that we need? We tied a strong why to the goal that we were pursuing, right? You should have a why, a reason that you're going after that goal. So once you reach the goal, the problem is a lot of times we don't figure out what our new why is, or at least identify, like, is the why that got me to this goal, is that the same why that propels me to continue moving forward towards something else, right? So now you have to look at, is my why that got me here still relevant, or do I need a new why, a new thing to drive me forward? Number 3, we have to let's say recalibrate the compass, right? We have to figure out what is our new north, what is the new target that we're aiming for. Okay, so first, make sure you take the a rest period. Acknowledge the win. Allow yourself whatever rest is needed, because especially if you were going for some big physical goal, like where I went for the Spartan races earlier this year, I took a good solid month after that last race to just focus on mobility and recovery and rest to allow my body to recover from the challenging training and the challenging events that I had went through. So you have to think about, like, based on what your goal was, how much rest do you need afterwards to allow yourself to be rejuvenated, recovered from whatever it was, so that you can come back with full force, with full energy toward whatever the next thing is. So don't just set another goal right away for the sake of productivity. Take the rest that you need, recover, and come back refreshed and ready to go toward the next goal. Then you got to ask yourself, what did I learn from this process? Are you chasing growth when you're going for this goal, or are you chasing noise? Like, are you seeing and hearing other things and thinking that you have to go for those things when it's really not part of your journey? So think about what you actually learned from the process. And then like the fourth thing is just evolve the mission. The next thing that you go after, sometimes we think that we have to shift to something completely new, and it might not be that. We might not have to go toward a new goal altogether. We might be going deeper in the goal or in the area that we were already focused on. So it's not always a complete shift to something new. It might just be going deeper into what we have already accomplished and going further into that. It could be something along the lines of, once you reach a goal, maybe now the next thing isn't even to have a specific goal for yourself, but rather to mentor others, to reach back, to lift someone else up, because you now have knowledge that others seek if they are on a similar journey. If they're going after a goal that you've already accomplished, you can be someone who mentors, guides, coaches. You could refine the process, look back at what you accomplished and say, how would I do it better now? Knowing what I know, how would I improve that process? Right? So you could help someone else. You could improve the process to get to that goal. You could find a new way to serve. Like, it might be a completely different path, not related. But think about how the goal, how whatever it is you're going for, the mission evolves after your goal. So just a few quick tips. Now, let's say you reached your goal. Here's what you need to do. All right. You need to take a journal, or at least take some time to reflect and do it mentally. But it's awesome if you have a journal, because then you can look back at it and you're creating something tangible. First, say, what did this goal mean to me? What did the goal mean to you? Really, like, when you're doing that reflection and thinking about the goal and how far you came, like, you need to ask yourself and figure out, like, what it meant to you truly, and sit in that and feel that when you're doing your reflection. All right, then the next thing is, ask yourself, what habits do you want to carry forward? So you may have had habits that were productive for that goal specifically that might not be necessary anymore. And if that's the case, what are new productive habits you can replace those habits with? What habits still serve and which ones need to be replaced? So take a look at the habits that you built along that journey. Identify what needs to adjust, what needs to be changed now. And then the last thing is reflect on what is the next step in the journey. Like, what are you being called to do next? What do you feel purpose driven? Where do you find fulfillment next? Ask yourself those questions. Think about those things. Journal on it. At a minimum, reflect on it. But, journal. Hop in the comments. If you have some great things to share about, like, what a goal meant to you, what habits were useful or that you would carry forward or that you would use regardless of what goal you're striving toward, or what the purpose is that's calling you, share what you're working toward. All of those things, feel free to drop in the comments. Would love to hear about the steps that you're taking in the journey, celebrating any accomplishments and any growth that you've made. And I hope you all found some great value in this episode. If you did, make sure you share it. Share it with a friend, somebody that is either going for a goal or recently accomplished a goal and are trying to figure out what the next step is. Make sure you also go like, subscribe, comment with those thoughts and questions to join the conversation, and let's grow.